Hi guys, Matt the Editor here, and welcome to another edition of Doctor Who Series 12 Who Editor Reviews. This week, it's Nikola Tesla's Night of Terrors. Now, building up to this episode, I can't say I wasn't interested. I mean, I was, but the last couple of episodes of Doctor Who have been not bad, but have been lacking in its quality. I mean, after Orphan 55, I was a little worried about how this story and the next one with the Jadoon could turn out. But I thought maybe the story could be an interesting story take on another historical figure that we haven't heard of, kind of on the same lines as Rosa Parks was in Series 11. I heard about Thomas Edison, who is featured in the story, the guy who created the light bulb or electricity in general, but from what I heard about Nikola Tesla, whom I've never heard of, from what I was told, he created the generator. So I thought there could be an interesting story to sit through. And honestly, thank God for that, because I really liked this episode. Oh, this was a really good episode. It's not perfect, of course. I mean, there's some slight issues here and there, but I'll get to that later. For now, I would like to talk about the good stuff first. And honestly, the good stuff, in my opinion, mostly centers around the title character, Nikola Tesla. Since this is basically Tesla's story, let's talk about him first. Tesla is quite possibly the most interesting character we have seen in this series. From the very first scene, I was invested in this guy. I mean, I was immediately interested in what his story was going to be. I see a man with a vision and a goal to achieve, to change the future, to change the world, and then we see his obstacles. We see the problems arising, and we see what the story is going to be. From there, he is possibly being framed for the electric shock cures, and he is willing to solve the mystery. From the speech on Niagara Falls, the discovery of the orb, the hooded figure chased with a Silurian gun, and into the train chase. All of that was fun. Even when the Doctor turns up, it's fun. That entrance she made was very Doctor Who. And the entire chase, yeah, cheap, but it's still done well. I liked how the Doctor knocks the figure out, steals the Silurian gun, and unhooks the train carriage. And from there onwards, it's just fun. And it all comes from Tesla. A story about a man who is quite possibly not getting the recognition he has always wanted with his work. He soon realizes his recognition is given to him, even if it was not the way he thought it would be, whether it was by the aliens or by the townspeople's fear of his night terrors. At least I think that's what it was. I think we can all agree that the Chibnall era is stronger doing the historical stories and not the sci-fi stories. We saw that proven right with Rosa and Demons of the Punjab. Now we can add this to the list. I think what worked was its elegant blend of optimism and emotion mixed with some nice exploration tension between dreams and reality. Tesla is a man who wanted to change the future, but his visions and dreams are not becoming an actual reality, or at least the way he intended it. And with Thomas Edison, who got to make his argument that dreams don't become reality unless someone like him makes them. It's a nice little moral how some good stuff can happen if people like Tesla can make it happen. But it's not like in your face. It lets the story tells it. But the story doesn't go the whole follow your heart, follow your dreams, you can achieve anything tale. It says that you may not achieve what you wanted, but if you do achieve something, it would be for progress. It's done in a way that it's actually kind of clever. It's a little similar to Vincent and the Doctor, but I think it actually hits home close to a lot of people. I kind of see it kind of similar to the Pixar film Monsters University. Not the best Pixar film, but I really like the moral they told, how you may not achieve what you've always wanted, but if you pick yourself up and try something different, you might achieve something better than what you intended. And I think that's kind of shown here. I would assume that this episode was made just so they can get this message across to kids as well as some adults. Therefore, letting people know more about important historical figures that no one has ever heard of. But what really worked is the story they told. Even though Tesla is not recognized or remembered for his work, but his work and his progress does get to be remembered as his achievement. So in a way, his vision has come to a reality, just not with him. And speaking as someone who has had multiple ideas for stories or visions to show to the world, only to then have those ideas done by other people, I can relate to this guy. And the idea of having this story giving a man his rightful reputation back in the minds of people who may not know his story and his incredible achievements is a fantastic idea. Sure, he doesn't get rewarded for his work, but seeing his work going forward is a better achievement. The scenes with Tesla working with the Doctor and the rest of the gang are easily the best parts of the episode. It was nice to see those two characters who are, in a way, inventors, sort of comparing each other's technology, asking questions like, how does this device work, and sharing each other's equations. I even liked how they seemed to be comparing each other's works, like Tesla's shadow graphics is basically the modern day X-ray. He invented the first radio alternating current, which I guess links to his big project, the Wardenclyffe satellite, which is basically Wi-Fi. We even get a scene where he compares himself with the Doctor, how they both seem out of place. That, in my opinion, best Doctor Who scene in the series so far, or at least in this episode. Looking at it again, I do kind of feel like at times the Doctor was a little merciless towards the aliens and a little bit kind of mean to Tesla and Edison. Take for example when she says she'll be keeping an eye on Tesla. This could have done in a much calmer way. Maybe have the Doctor say something like, "Oh, well, never mind then, but I guess if you want to get through this, then, well, we might be spending some time with each other for a while. That is, until you decide to cooperate and give me the answers I need." Or something like that, something like that. Thankfully, they don't go overboard with that. Also, my parents pointed it out in Spyfall Part 2 that she wiped away Nora Connor and Lovelace's memory of the Doctor away after she saved their lives. So why didn't she do the same with Tesla, especially since he seemed interested in studying the Doctor's machine, the TARDIS? I think I might have spotted a plot hole here. But who knows, maybe they did it off screen when the episode ended. But that being said, Jodie Whittaker has a really fun moment, especially with the human characters. Like I said, her scenes with Tesla are the best parts. I liked how she uses salt and a match to trap the alien-possessed dead body in a circle. That was a nice touch. I did like how she resources the existing alien tools in the alien ship in order to escape, and she doesn't end up killing the monsters. However, there is this one moment which I think could have been done better. It's when the Queen asks, "Have you ever seen a dead planet?" The Doctor's face at that moment says it all. We all immediately thought of Gallifrey. You could have just left it unanswered, because I'm pretty sure the gang would have questioned the Doctor at that moment. I was a little thrown off with how TARDIS team were involved in the first half of the story, and honestly, you could have cut them out of the entire story in general and we would have missed nothing. However, there were moments in which I did appreciate. For example, I enjoyed seeing Yaz acting kind of like the assistant to Tesla for a couple of scenes. She does manage to convince Tesla to get through his obstacles with his own work or against the aliens. Graham had a few moments like he introduces Tesla to Ryan and Yaz, even though he doesn't know him that well, and I did like his little bickering with Thomas Edison. Ryan, I think you could have moved entirely from this story. Maybe just say Ryan has work to do at home and Yaz and Graham go on a little trip with the Doctor. But he does have a small moment with Tesla's assistant Dorothy, who in a way is the companion towards Tesla. She was meant to represent this era's variation towards the Doctor and the companion aspect of the show. But she does show support and care towards Tesla. I'm kind of glad it's not in a love romantic sort of way. She did fine. But at this point, I think this show really needs to balance out the TARDIS team. And by that, I mean splitting them up. Do the same as what they did with the Sarah Jane Adventures or Torchwood, by having certain characters travel with the Doctor or focus on their story in each episode. Like this one, for example, you could have just had Graham and Yaz go on the trip. Maybe in the next one, have Ryan and Yaz go on the trip whilst Graham is sorting things out at home. Or have a story focused on Yaz's story as a cop on Earth, while everyone else is traveling. Stuff like that. Don't keep on overcrowding the stories with the entire team, which we kind of saw shown in Orphan 55 last week. Thankfully, each companion gets equal amount of screen time, and this is a smaller cast list. Because I was so interested in the human parts of the episode, I was a little worried that when the aliens do turn up, they might ruin the story, but they actually fitted well into the story. I actually liked how these are aliens who steal technology from other inventors and use it for their own games, but when they cannot fix it themselves, they steal the inventors to do the work for them. That's actually kind of clever. I mean, since we've seen aliens try to conquer or destroy Earth, and as we saw with the Slitheen, they wanted to use Earth to make money. But for what they did with the aliens in this story, I think it's a nice idea. Plus, it's a nice parallel to Thomas Edison's lifestyle. These monsters are actually so fun to watch, whether they are the hooded dead bodies. There was a nice touch when one of the figures, Howard Green, as his shadow shows the image of his true form. That was a really nice touch. There are some nice cool moments, like that awesome shot of all the scorpions crawling around the ceiling of the ship, or that entire chase in the town market. Yeah, the CGI can be a little lame, but it's very well detailed that it's still fun to watch. And yes, Yaz tried to stop them using a bread stand. Now, to all of those who think that was a stupid thing to do, if you were in that situation, you would do the same. Even Anju Mohindra, who plays the Queen Skifra, she's great. Sure, she's not that well written at some moments, but the performance outshines the writing. For example, there was a moment where the Doctor asks what you want, and one of the minions say they need an inventor. The Queen kills him, and I thought, oh, that's probably just to keep it a secret. But instead, she says, I was talking. For some reason, I don't know why, but I laughed. It made me laugh. Another good moment was when she plows around the house like she owns the place. She struts around with this elegant finesse. She strokes her prisoner's chins as she says her lines, showing some elegance and animalism mixed together. Anju Mohindra is so good in this episode. Yeah, I do miss her as Rani Chandra, but she's so good in this episode. I guess acting as Androfax in disguise really paid off. Thomas Edison could have easily have been written as a straight-up villain. They actually made him come across much more complex. You see, Edison is someone who hires Tesla to fix his generator, and he gets all the glory whilst Tesla gets nothing. But that aside, we see that he still cares about his co-workers. He has a fascination for other inventions, like when he goes into the TARDIS and asks whether it's a single ship or an entire factory. Some moments in which you think it could be Trump-like, but it's not in your face like it was in Arachnids in the UK. He still shows interest in people's work, especially with Tesla with one of his ideas. Even when he has to evacuate the entire town, even though he uses Tesla's name as a warning, it at least sends the people into their houses to protect them from the aliens. But I also do like how in the end he gives a job offer to come and work for him. That was actually quite nice. Are there any problems? Sure, but most of them are just nitpicks, like the Mars signals talks, I think could have been a little bit explored. Maybe after a couple of rewatches, my opinion might change on that. Some of the production work in the art department felt like a little lazy, like the establishing shot of the entire town where there was only one small line of washing on a wide open spaced out building. You could have just CGI'd in a couple of more washings and, just make it look more civilized. But my major problem with this episode lies in the editing. Not that it was bad, it was good. But I feel like there were some scenes missing, or at least deleted for time. Yeah, there's some scenes which I think needed to be in this episode, like Tesla and Yaz deciding to experiment on that orb, the hooded figure entering Edison's factory without being detected, the hooded figures arriving at Tesla's work area to capture Dorothy and hold her hostage, the Doctor, Tesla and Dorothy teleporting on the train, the Doctor arriving on the Skifrost ship, or even when the shield is activated to protect the entire tower was actually made before the Scorpions actually arrive. Scenes like that. I've heard some people saying this should have been a two-parter, and well, I can see that happening, and there was a moment in which I thought it was going to end in a cliffhanger. But honestly, what would you do to expand this story into a two-parter? Plus, it could end up like all the other previous two-parters we've had, where part 1 sets something up, part 2 forgets about what part 1 did, and just tells a different story. Or even if they do continue the same story, it could drag its story so much that the audience would find the whole experience to become a little boring to sit through. So I don't think this could work as a two-parter. Then maybe if this was like an extended episode, adding in those extra scenes, I think this could have worked on its own. So yeah, in conclusion, I really like this episode. There may be a few nitpicks and issues here and there, and I'm pretty sure myself and other critics will notice this, but as long as this episode keeps me interested in its focus on the title character, and interests me in the story surrounding that character, then we might be able to get through this episode okay. Tesla is easily the best part of the episode. The characters, while a little overcrowded at times, still have equal amount of screen time, and even the aliens are fun to watch. Even the music and the production work looks good. It feels like the original stuff I loved from Doctor Who is back again. Especially Sidney Newman's original idea of making Doctor Who an educational show is shown here. And I'm so glad it is. This is easily the best Doctor Who story of the series so far, and I am more than happy to watch this again and again. So overall, I am giving this episode 9.5 out of 10. Be sure to leave a comment, like and share this video, and if you have seen the episode, what did you think about it? And if you'd like to see more of my videos, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.